I feel like Shakespeare does not have a responsibility to depict history accurately because with Macbeth, yes, it is off a lot.
Well, first of all, Shakespeare was an author, not a history book writer. So.
Exactly, and there's like a whole genre of just fiction devoted to just
screwing up history.
Pretty much, yes. So history does not have to be depicted accurately in this time period, and I feel like if Shakespeare did write Macbeth based on its historical accuracy, it wouldn't have gotten the fame and appraisal that it does get now.
I have a fun angle to offer on this. I think that, especially when he kind of, like in the description right here, it says that Duncan was terrible, Banquo was a conspirator in Duncan's murder, Macbeth was king for a long time, he was good at it. I think the fact that everything is completely opposite makes it like funnier. It makes it more interesting, because if it was like factually correct, it wouldn't be that interesting. It's history. You already knew about it.
That's what biographies for.
You probably heard about it, but if it's something completely weird, it's like that off factor makes it more interesting.
I think it's the time I think it's okay is when they make it obvious that they're kind of trying to pull like an alternate history kind of thing, like honestly, stories like that.
Honestly, I would watch a movie about Hitler as a humanitarian and FDR as a tragic villain. I would watch that because it'd be interesting and not what actually happened.
But only if I knew. Like, I think it'd only be okay if like they made it obvious that.
We showed that to a little North Korean kid who hasn't seen anything in his life, doesn't know anything about history. He'd
right.
Be like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, this is truth.
Right. But like with the second point where it says in 600 years, like if you were looking back and it made Hitler seem like a humanitarian and FDR is a tragic villain, and then that story over the course of 400 more years becomes how history is remembered, would that really matter?
Yes.
I definitely
that
think
would matter.
Because people look on history for precedents of how to, kind of make decisions today, and I feel like they just have to put in obvious, that this is not how history really
Well, I have a question, because I feel because Macbeth is how it says a timeless piece of art, and a lot of just individuals have read it, I feel like they depict Macbeth as an actual historical point of reference in that time period. But it says right here, Duncan actually was a pretty terrible, unpopular king, and it goes so on and so forth. But how many of us, did anyone know that these bullet points were the actual historical facts? No one pretty much did. Everyone thinks that Macbeth is actually a historical piece of literature.
If I were to write an essay about the events that happened in 1604, I would not consult Macbeth. It happened in
Shakespeare?
1000s. I would not consult Shakespeare. I would actually consult history.
Wikipedia.
Maybe that's what you think, but that's not what I would go to.
Yeah, but how many people, I'm pretty sure a lot of people think that Macbeth is
not real.
No, let me finish. Macbeth, actually, this is what happened. Because what it's saying right here, over a course of 400 more years, how this is how history becomes remembered. Like Leon was saying, that is used as a precedent for future years. And if that's remembered and that's historical inaccuracy, then that's our fault.
But I don't think that it will necessarily happen. Like the movie Braveheart, I really like the movie. It's really awesome, but it's not historically accurate at all. And I'm not speaking for everyone, but everyone I've talked to about that movie knows that, and that it's not historically accurate, but they enjoy it nonetheless. So I think there's a fine line between historical fiction and history. It's not like everyone's just going to forget in the future.
Me think that Meredith is right, because in 400 years there might not be a Wikipedia around to go look up what happened during this time period.
Wikipedia is not even true all the time either.
Wikipedia is very false a lot too. Most kids in our grade, we don't really care about what happened that long ago.
Right.
So we're not going to actually, Meredith might care, but most of us aren't going to go look up what actually happened back then. We're just going to read the book and assume that might have actually happened.
A good example I kind of have from my childhood, Jurassic Park.
I thought that was real.
I thought that's how dinosaurs really were, how they kind of depicted the velociraptors as these scaly, creatures that were 6 feet tall and ferocious, when in reality they are actually, well, not that anyone actually knows, but they're smaller, more bird-like, and had feathers and aren't as intimidating. So I truly believe they were those huge creatures. So is the trade-off between those two good?
But do dinosaurs affect your life now? Does it really matter how
No.
history remembers?
Well-
Okay, so does it really matter how history remembers Macbeth if it doesn't affect
Yes,
us
because
now?
history is a precedent for the future.
Okay, let's put some wheels on this
Okay.
segue and move into the
No,
next
I
part.
got one last part.
So,
I got one last
it's
thing.
talking about.
I got one
okay,
last thing to say.
Barton, add
I'm
in.
just saying that through history, that this is not like the first time ever someone's made like based off of real true figures make something interesting, but to get a point across. Like in this point, I think the point's more about like as we talked about before, the masculinity thing.
Right.
I think back in history, like even like all the way back to Greek mythology, some of those figures are true people. Like Hercules was real, but they were depicted the wrong way.
Yeah.
But they gave him created a lesson in the process, and that's what I'm trying to create
Yeah,
this as.
and
So-
I feel like Ben does have a point with what he was saying about Shakespeare, because Shakespeare is an author and not a historian, so it's not on him to actually depict history in a real way. But I mean, he just really is trying to appeal it to his audience.
It just so happened that Macbeth is more popular than the history of the 1000s.
Yes, I
Right.
feel like that is, that's a good point. But what it was saying with
Yeah, so
your
it's
question.
basically the third question. What does this all say about the importance of art and beauty versus historical accuracy, about the importance of truth versus truth?
Yeah.
So this is what we're talking about. So I think in a theatrical sense, like it's more interesting and it's better for it to not depict history perfectly, because a lot of people, especially back in the time period that this play was created, probably knew what actually happened, and they don't want to hear a play about what actually happened. They want something that's funny and made up.
Right.
So I think in an theatrical way, it is more important to be artsy and creative and stuff than be actually historically
Right.
accurate.
Create a story of a
Because
fact.
your
Yeah.
message is kind of your main proponent to your work of art.
Kinda
Yeah,
like
and there
when they
would
have a
not be
movie.
a message in the actual like historical accuracy of the play. If Shakespeare had written the play just based on like the real historical events, the message would not be brought across as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like a movie where it's like something completely made up, but then it says based on a true story.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel with the importance of truth versus the actual like truth, that I feel that authors should go along the ways or along the path of just creating a message throughout their
And
literature.
that's the truth, not the actual truth.
Yes, and it should be the truth within the message, but not all around in the play or book or novel. And then with historical accuracy, that should just be up to the historians. But I do feel that Macbeth is regarded as like kind of like a real piece of literature that's based off of historical accuracy, and that's how people depict it. But now we know that this is what
The
happened.
thing is, we know the
And
difference.
this
Yes.
wasn't like the first time he did that either. Like he's done Julius Caesar also, like another example.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.